After having escaped all that her stepmother had put her through, Snow White was reminded of how lucky she was to now be living in the most sought-after neighborhood of Buenos Aires in the Seven Forest. By day, Snow White went about her motherly and wifely duties of tending to her 3 children and preparing delicious home-cooked meals for Alfonso to enjoy after his long days of princely duties with his father, the king. But beneath her snow-white skin, she felt a burning desire for something more. Mariana, Snow White's mother-in-law, couldn't understand her daughter's increasingly distant glares into space, and reminded her over and over again, "Snow White, this is your dream. There are not so many others as fortunate as you, who can say that they have all that you have. Security, happiness, a man you love, 3 adorable children." Now what the world doesn't know is that Snow White harbored a secret so terrible that she had not the courage to tell even Alfonso. A secret that came back to haunt her night after night. Since the happy ending that you all remember so well, Snow White had slipped into what those around her called a bleak depression, brought on by the aftermath of the tortures that had been inflicted on her by her wicked stepmother. This, I'm sorry to have to tell you, was far from the truth. The secret truth was far worse, and a secret much too terrible to be written about in fairy tales. It is only because of what Jaime did next that forces me to have to now reveal what Snow White had been taking great care to make sure no one ever found out. Being the youngest, Jaime was riddled with an insatiable thirst for curiosity. Curiosity about everything, including his mother. By the age of 3, Jaime realized that she was hiding something, and he made it his adventure to find out what it was. While everyone was sleeping, he crept into her locked room through a secret door, which he had drawn with a magic crayon stolen from her treasure box, hidden in the bottom of the garden underneath the beanstalk. As he crept in, his hands began to freeze, and his fingers quickly turned blue as his breath filled the air with cold clouds of ice crystals. His mouth fell open in shock, as everything in the room had turned snow and ice. His gaze quickened to the bed, but there was no one there. He couldn't see Snow White anywhere. The room was becoming too cold to bear, as he felt his limbs become numb. He heard a shrill sound scream from the chimney and a hard slap across his face that propelled him back through the magic door, where he landed with a violent thump back in the corridor. Tears rolling down his blue cheeks, his heart raced a din in his tiny soft head, and he began to cry. Alfonso, who had a late night in the counting house, heard his son's cries and rushed up to find him. He picked him up and felt his freezing blue skin. "Son, you stay away from there. It will kill you."